Every morning at exactly 8:30 a.m., an old woman sat on the same wooden bench outside a small grocery store in Maplewood, Ohio. Rain or shine. Summer heat or winter cold. She never begged. Never spoke. She just sat there, hands folded over a faded brown purse, eyes fixed on the parking lot as if she were waiting for something, or someone, who never came. Most people noticed her. Few acknowledged her. They called her, that old lady on the bench. Her name was Margaret Ellis, and she was 78 years old. Margaret wore the same gray coat almost every day, a little too big for her thin frame. Her silver hair was always neatly pulled back into a low bun, even when the wind tried to undo it. There was dignity in the way she sat, straight-backed, quiet, invisible. To the town, she was just part of the scenery. To Ethan Parker, she was a question waiting to be asked. Ethan was 26, recently moved back to Maplewood after losing his job in Chicago. His life felt stuck. He worked the morning shift at the grocery store, stocking shelves and pretending he wasn't disappointed with how things had turned out. Every morning, as he unlocked the doors, he saw Margaret sitting there. At first, he ignored her like everyone else. But after weeks, something about her loneliness began to weigh on him. One cold Tuesday morning, as Ethan carried boxes inside, he noticed Margaret's hands trembling slightly. The temperature had dropped below freezing. People rushed past her, coats zipped, eyes down. Something in Ethan snapped, not anger, but awareness. During his break, he walked outside, heart pounding like he was about to do something dangerous. He didn't know why he felt nervous. He didn't know what to say. So he asked the smallest question imaginable. "Ma'am, are you waiting for someone?" Margaret looked up, startled. It had been months since anyone spoke to her. Her eyes, clear blue, still sharp, studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled, a sad, gentle smile. "I suppose I always am," she said softly. Ethan sat down on the bench, unsure why he felt like this moment mattered. "Do you mind if I sit with you?" he asked. "I'd like that," she replied. That was the beginning. Over the next few days, Ethan brought her coffee. Then a muffin. Then conversation. Margaret didn't say much at first. She listened more than she spoke. But slowly, her story unfolded. Margaret had been a school librarian for 35 years. She loved books, children, quiet afternoons filled with turning pages. She'd been married to Thomas Ellis, a factory worker with kind hands and a laugh that filled rooms. They had one son. Daniel. Daniel had been everything to her. Smart. Curious. Restless. When Daniel turned 18, he left Maplewood, chasing dreams bigger than the town could hold. Margaret supported him, even when it hurt. They spoke every week. Then every month. Then, less. One day, the calls stopped. Margaret tried everything, emails, letters, old phone numbers. Years passed. No reply. The bench outside the grocery store was the last place Daniel had hugged her goodbye before leaving town. She sat there every day, not because she expected him to appear, but because it made her feel closer to him. Ethan listened, throat tight. "That's why I sit here," Margaret said. "Because hope doesn't die all at once. It fades slowly." Ethan couldn't stop thinking about her. He started visiting on his days off. He learned her favorite songs, her favorite books, the way she still said "thank you" like it was a gift. Other people began to notice. A cashier brought her a blanket. A delivery driver waved. The bench no longer felt invisible. One afternoon, Ethan asked, "Have you ever tried finding him online?" Margaret shook her head. "I wouldn't know how. Anne. I don't want to disturb his life." Ethan hesitated, then said gently, "What if he's looking for you too?" That night, Ethan searched. It took hours. Old social media accounts. News articles. Alumni pages. Then he found him. Daniel Ellis. Living in Portland, Oregon. Photograph attached. Ethan stared at the screen, heart racing. The next morning, he showed Margaret. She covered her mouth with trembling fingers. Tears slid down her cheeks, not loud, not dramatic. Just years of waiting finally exhaling. "Is that really him?" she whispered. "Yes," Ethan said. "Anne. I think you should let him know you're still here." Margaret wrote the message herself. Simple. Honest. "It's Mom. I sit on the bench every morning. I miss you." They waited. 3 days later, a reply came. "Mom. I've been looking for you for years." Daniel flew to Maplewood the next week. The entire town watched as a man in his 40s walked across the parking lot toward the bench. Margaret stood slowly, unsure if her legs would hold her. When Daniel wrapped his arms around her, she cried like she hadn't cried in decades. Not from pain, but from release. Ethan stood back, tears in his own eyes, realizing something profound. One question. One moment of kindness. One choice to notice. Margaret no longer sits alone on the bench. Sometimes she sits with Ethan. Sometimes with Daniel. Sometimes with new friends who learned that loneliness often hides in plain sight. Before you scroll away, remember this. Someone near you might be waiting for a question that changes everything. If this story moved you, like the video and subscribe to the channel.